give me the strength today. I offer myself to thee. From this bondage, set me free. Help me see the nature of my wrongs. In your grace I will be strong. This old world is full of fear and greed. Love, it is the door and faith's the key. From this bondage, set me free. And I offer myself to thee. God, with you I can be whole. If I surrender my control, do I still want to run the show? I'm trying to let go. This old world is full of fear and greed. Love, it is the door and faith's the key. Nothing is deserved, no guaranteed. I offer myself to thee. For my friends who suffered, for my mother, father, and brother, for a world down on its knees, I pray for thee. For the restless and the wild, for the broken, tamed, defiled, for all of us who crave more than we need, I pray for thee. And I offer myself to thee.
I would weave a magic spell of rainbow design, of rainbow design. In it, I would weave the courage of women giving birth, and in it, I would weave the innocence of the children of all the earth. Children of all the earth. to show my brothers and sisters my rainbow design. 'Cause I would bind up the sorry world with hand and my heart and mind. Oh, hand and heart and mind. Oh, had I a golden thread and a needle so fine, I would weave a magic spell of rainbow design, of rainbow design.
So sorry. Hi, Marlo. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Come on in. I had to get a worship guide, y'all. Welcome to All Souls Church of Boulder. It is so good to be together. The wind has blown you in, literally, today. So, welcome, welcome, welcome. We are so excited tonight for we do it once a year, our Epiphany Gathering. Woo! Yeah, okay. You're like, I don't know what that means. You're about ready to find out. So our Epiphany Gathering will feel and is much like a worship service. We'll have moments of scripture and song and passing of the peace. And we get to hear a lot from our leadership here at All Souls of what we are leaning into, feeling called to, what we are imagining and dreaming about as a community this year. So I'm excited because you get to hear from some of my favorite people in the whole world talk about things they're passionate about. The word epiphany is this word that means manifestation. It means seeing. It means envisioning anew. And this is a season in the church calendar in which the church is both coming to see God and to see itself, its presence in this world, as a new manifestation with new eyes, addressing things that are happening in this world here and now, and how do small communities of followers begin to live into that. So that's what we're leaning into this evening, and welcome to all of you who are here. I want to say special welcome. If you're brand new and being like, is this where I'm supposed to be? This is exactly where you're supposed to be. So if this is your first time at All Souls, welcome, welcome, welcome. We have a welcome table in the back that has information about All Souls from all the different things and ways we join together. And it also has a guest card. If you want to know more about All Souls, or would love to meet with someone over coffee or lunch, or go on a hike with someone on our leadership, we'd love to hear your story and love to share the story of this community. Feel free to fill that out at any time. But what we're going to experience tonight is being able to hear a lot of the heartbeat and the soul behind this community. And so if you're walking in going, what is this? You're about ready to get a full dose of what All Souls is. And it's in its name, All Souls. That this is a community that is leading collaboratively together, where all souls are invited. And so I want to begin by inviting our leadership team. These are our elders, our deacons, our volunteer directors, and our staff, and we're going to make a line up in front, and they're each going to introduce themselves. Come on down. You're the next contestants. So they're going to introduce themselves, and you're going to hear from each of them, and then we'll begin our time of worship together. Jim, you get to start here.
Hi, my name's Jim Beard, and I am a deacon. One, two. Is that better? All right. So I'll start over from scratch. My name is Jim Beard, and I'm a deacon heading up the Mercy team, we call it, which has to do with reaching out into the community and serving our local area.
Hey, I'm Leah. I'm on staff, and I direct things.
Yes. I'm Katie Nelson. I'm one of the deacons, and I am part of the hospitality and like some behind-the-scenes administration stuff within the deacon team. So that's me.
I'm Susan Grant, Director of Music, usually hiding behind the piano, which is much more comfortable than this.
Hey, I'm Deb Pierce, the Director of Community Circles.
I'm Carrie, she, her, and I've been the interim youth director for the fall.
Okay, I'm hijacking. I'm Rachel, one of the co-pastors here at All Souls, and I am going to take this moment because Carrie has to get on an airplane in a little while for us to thank Carrie for being an incredible interim youth director for fall semester. There is not enough to thank her, but I am going to introduce her to a new staff experience that we have every week, where one of us gets the world champ belt. I did earn it this week, so I'm going to toot my own horn, but I want Carrie to get the world champ. Wow. She could have gotten this seriously every week. She could have gotten this every week for the fall, so thank you so much for everything you've done.
And I would say that this wouldn't be possible without all the volunteers that helped to make the fall happen for the youth and that continue to make that a place of belonging for our young friends. So team effort. It's a shared belt.
Thank you, Carrie.
My name is John Patton, and I'm one of the elders here.
I'm Brent Nelson. I'm also one of the elders here.
I am Laura Baker, and I am one of the elders as well.
Brian Ray, one of the elders as well.
I'm Erica Koffel. I'm a deacon and on the care team.
I'm Erin Moore, and I'm one of the elders here. And also, it's my joy to report out to you the results of our Hope for All Souls campaign that concluded last month. We ended up raising about $54,000 between one-time gifts and new recurring giving. And on behalf of staff and elders, we want to thank you all so much for your gifts, large and small. Not only do they help us to meet the needs of the current budget and plan for the future, but it also feels like a validating or a validation that what we are all trying to build here together is needed and good and should continue. So thank you so much.
Let us pray. Loving God, Christ is inviting all people to the table and to this life in you and this cultivation of sacred community. All people, young and old, rich and poor, black and brown and white, gay and straight, cisgender and transgender, single and married and divorced, those with disabilities seen and unseen, conservatives and liberal, and all those in between, those with faith and doubt, in joy and tears. All are invited into life in you with one another and for the hope of our world. Amen.
Hi, my name's Polly, and I'm going to be leading us in our centering moment. So if you would, I just invite you to settle into your chair, and if you want to, close your eyes or soften your gaze, and just start to pay attention to your breath. And as you're breathing, maybe take the deepest breath you've taken today. I'm going to read a poem, and then when the poem's over, we're going to sit in silence for about a minute, and then I will ring a bell to conclude. The Seven of Pentacles. Under a sky of the color of pea soup, she is looking at her work growing away there actively, thickly like grapevines or pole beans, as things grow in the real world. Slowly enough. If you tend them properly, if you mulch, if you water, if you provide birds that eat insects at home and winter food, if the sun shines and you pick off caterpillars, if the praying mantis comes and the ladybugs and the bees, then the plants flourish, but at their own internal clock. Connections are made slowly. Sometimes they grow underground. You cannot tell always by looking what is happening. More than half the tree is spread out in the soil under your feet. Penetrate quietly as the earthworm that blows no trumpet. Fight persistently as the creeper that brings down the tree. Spread like the squash plant that overruns the garden. Gnaw in the dark and use the sun to make sugar. Weave real connections. Create real nodes. Build real houses. Live a life you can endure. Make love that is loving. Keep tangling and interweaving and taking more in. A thicket, a bramble wilderness to the outside, but to us, interconnected with rabbit runs and burrows and layers. Live as if you liked yourself, and it may happen. Reach out, keep reaching out, keep bringing in. This is how we are going to live for a long time. Not always, for every gardener knows that after digging, after the planting, after the long season of tending and growth, the harvest comes. Amen.
Would you stand and let's sing together?
Upon
of the one eternal mind. Oh, are we trees rising to the heavens? Oh, are we flowers unfettered by the thorn? Oh, are we pillars of the great eternal temple? Are we not one? Oh Lord, are we not yours? Have we not joy in the midst of every shadow? Have we not hope in the deepest of the dark? Have we not peace passes understanding? Oh, are we sons fashioned in your image? Oh, are we daughters carrying your name? Oh, are we brothers across the generations? Are we not sparks from an everlasting flame? Have we not joy in the midst of every shame? Have we not hope in the deepest of the dark? Have we not peace that passes understanding? Oh, are we light summoned by delight? Oh, are we gleaming, dancing on the shore? Lord, can we hold each other through the crossing? Are we not one? Oh Lord, are we not yours? Are we not one? Oh Lord, are we not yours?
Not this time, next time. Is it working? There it is. No, it's not. Oh, it got muted. Just click it once. There it is. Try that one.
Hi. All right, I'm going to do that again because this deserves an introduction. All right, I'm excited to introduce our new logo to you. All right, so since 2010, our previous logo has represented the history, growth, and the ever-changing community of All Souls. And for the past several years, the staff leadership team, we've worked on our strategic plan and wanted to create a logo that represents the current language we use as a community. Words such as inner, outer, and communal journeys, circles, mystery, tradition, walking side by side as a community in the way of Jesus. The labyrinth represents the transformative healing journey, one that is a daily exploration with God and fellow travelers, guiding us towards self-discovery and recognizing everyone as beloved by God. And I need to give credit to the artist.
Awkward.
So the labyrinth was created when Will was doing an art project with Ellie for homeschooling, guys. Isn't this awesome? And the font that you see, the cursive and the Church of Boulders section, that was done by Keely Taylor and Polly Baker. So just want to give credit where credit is due. Sweet.
This is an exciting time, and at All Souls, in the beginning of January in the season of Epiphany, we like to sit and dream about the year coming forward and think about a theme or a word of invitation or something to lean into together. And so our staff and our leadership spent a time in early January on a retreat thinking about this. And we have felt, one thing that we're experiencing literally tonight, that this has been a season of growth in many ways for All Souls. Not just numerically or people coming through here, and not just like programs growing and need growing and finances and all of those things, but feeling that growth. And as we sat with that word together, there was something that didn't sit right. That when the church sometimes says, you know what we should do? We should just grow. It's not a bad thing, but it can be a manipulative thing, or taking on a role that maybe isn't ours totally. So we sat with it together and came closer to this idea of what we actually feel. And when I say we, I mean we, the royal we. What we feel God leading to us into this year is to a place of cultivation. We want to cultivate things that are good and rich, seeds that like are finding soil in our new ideas and that may never spring up. We want to cultivate things within this community and see what God does with them. By cultivate, we mean this: to prepare and to use for the raising of crops, to foster the growth of, to improve, to labor, to care, to study, to refine, to further, and to encourage. And so we're moving into this season and into this year with this hope of cultivation. And we just want to take a moment and talk about how do we see this, how do we ground this idea of cultivation in Scripture itself. So we're going to need all hands on deck. We have 3 scriptures we're going to read together. And so when you raise your hand, if you want to read one, it will be up on the screen, so you got to be able to see the screen. And Rachel will come bring a mic. But I need someone to read Genesis 2:15. Raise your hand and yes, front row. Be ready for the next person. Go ahead and stand up and read it for us.
Then the Lord God took the man and put him in the Garden of Eden to cultivate it and tend it.
To cultivate it and tend it. From the very beginning, this image of a garden is to be tended and cultivated. We were created to do the work of cultivation, tending. It's part of what makes us feel alive. I feel, and we often feel in our culture, we're called to just be entertained and consumed. But I think we know the deadness that comes from that. And so leaning into this very beginning image of cultivating, what does it look like to tend to the things that are around us in our community, in our city? Turning to another one, Matthew 13. Someone can read it. Yes, right there, front row. Thank you. You get the longer good one.
And he told them many things in parables, saying, Behold, the sower went out to sow. And as he sowed, many seeds fell beside the road, and the birds came and ate them up. Others fell on rocky places where they did not have much soil, and they sprang up immediately, because they had no depth of soil. But after the sun rose, they were scorched, and because they had no root, they withered away. Others fell among the thorns, and the thorns came up and choked them out. But others fell on good soil, and yielded a crop. Some 100, some 60, and some 30 times as much. The one who has ears, let him hear.
Thank you. In this one, there is about 400 things we could talk about in this verse and encourage you. But before you go into every sermon you had about this, I want you to just sit on a couple of ideas. One is this is a passage about abundance. The sower, it's not so much about the soil, what's always about the soil, but imagine this sower is just spreading seed everywhere, abundantly, to all of creation. And then the second thing I want to point to is before we judge like good soil, good person, which as Christians and in the church we have a tradition of doing, I just want to say what I think happens in communities and in our own soul is all of those soils. We have rocky places, we have places where it feels like things are growing, we have things that need some work to pull some stone out of it as well. I have a group text with my best friends from high school, and we named our group text Complicated Soil to describe who we are as humans. We all hold this community holds this. How do we tend to the soil about us so that the abundant grace that has been poured over this world begins to find life, and we see it in others and in parts of us? And so we just want to think about what are some of the seeds, what are some of the soils that we have in our own life and that of a community. Last one from 1 Corinthians. Thank you.
Servants, both of us, servants who waited on you as you gradually learned to entrust your lives to our mutual master. We each carried out our servant assignment. I planted the seed, Apollos watered the plants, but God made you grow. It's not the one who plants or the one who waters who is at the center of this process, but God, who makes things grow. Planting and watering are menial servant jobs at minimum wages. What makes them worth doing is the God we are serving. You happen to be God's field in which we are working.
Thank you. As we sit with this word cultivate, I think one of the things we're longing to hold is I don't think it's our work to grow, to manufacture, to pump something up so that it grows unnaturally. But this passage allows us to do this a little bit and realize God is the one that is doing the growing. In our own spiritual lives, in our relationships, in us as a community, in hope in our world. And so God, however you may imagine, God, what does it look like to give our community, our own soul to something bigger than ourselves? And be curious of what cultivating that space in us may be able to grow. Not just for us individually, but this is what we're longing to do as community. So we're going to talk a lot about things we are trying to cultivate with God, with one another, within us this year.
I want to introduce us to a wonder moment around cultivation. Cultivate, the word, is an action, and it's not only true of where we are as a community, but in the bigger context, it's where we are in our calendar year, in our season, outside, right outside the door. Yesterday, there were some women that met for a women's circle around, what's it called? Imbolc. New word to me. It's the midpoint of winter. It's the halfway mark between winter solstice and the spring equinox. And it really is about this stirring life underneath what's happening outside and getting ready to break through and bloom. And I think it's obviously great timing around talking about cultivation. So today I want you to think about, as we think about Epiphany, awareness, being awake, coming alive, I invite you to think about something in your life that you are wanting to cultivate. So this could be in your spiritual life, this could be something very tangible, but just think about what is stirring underneath the surface for you. I know we all have it if we slow down and pay attention. So on the end of your pews, there's a little stack of brown cards. I did not bring one up here. They say cultivate with a blank and a period, and also a plant that could be. So I want to invite you, as you hear from leaders, as you hear from staff, as we sing together, and just have this moment, just to think about what you want to cultivate. So share pens and things. You don't have to do it right this second. Just let it let it stir a little bit, and then later in our gathering, we're going to have an opportunity to come and hang up our Cultivate cards up here.
So during the next several moments, we're going to get to hear from leadership about ways that we are cultivating generous partnerships. We're definitely excited to celebrate growth in our partnerships this past year, and we are definitely hopeful for the coming year to see even more growth. So I am going to invite Jim to come up to talk about what we've been doing for the past year and what we look forward to.
I jumped the gun a little bit earlier.
You're so excited.
I was. Somewhere I lost track of my schedule of things, so I was like, oh wait, no, it's neat. Okay, so as part of the whole cultivating generous partnerships, thing, just wanted to talk to you about the things we've been doing out into the community here over what we did last year and what we're looking to be doing in this coming year. So as we see here, one of the big things we started like in June, partnering with Pine Street to serve the homeless population on the 5th Sundays. So like there's 4 times a year, there's 5 weeks, and there are congregations around the downtown area that are serving lunch every like week of the month. But there was no one to cover that 5th Sunday, when there's 5 weeks. And so we've stepped in to do that. And as you can see, we did all kinds of stuff with that. Like we also, like as it says here, like we had All Souls volunteers also, again, partnering with Pine Street, working at Pride Fest. So we got involved there. And, now I'm really echoing. All right. So we got involved there, both manning a booth and just working to help make the whole thing operate. But, so we did that. And then we did put on 3 5th Sunday lunches. We served like a total of about 270 guests. We had at least 36 All Soul volunteer slots that were filled over those three lunches. And I just wanted to say I am so blown away and so thankful for how you guys all stepped up to that and like poured out into it. It was awesome. And just seeing the people being fed, having a moment of respite, all those things that went on and all that has just been amazing. So if we look on to 2025, we're going to have 4 more of these. So save the date. Let's see, do we have the, yeah, there we go. So here's save the date. So Pride Fest, going to be June 15th this coming year. So we'll be looking to help partner with Rocky Mountain Equality to work with that. And then we have the 5th Sunday lunch on those dates. As you can see, some of them are close to holidays. In particular, we've got the Sunday after Thanksgiving, so figuring we'll do another big meal like we did for December 29th. This last time, we actually had people make food at home and bring it in these giant pans. If you were one of the people that volunteered to make the food, you may have been shocked when you say, I have to fill this big a pan. I have to go get more food. But, and by the way, that was amazing. The people loved that. Anyway, so we're going to be doing that. And so we're going to have things, maybe we'll do a cookout one of these times or something as well. Who knows? We'll see. Maybe flip burgers or something. But in any event, we have all that going on, looking to expand. Also, possibly partnering with Bridge House, which is a local, like, charity group, however you want to think about that, NGO kind of a thing that works to help get homeless people connected with jobs and reintegrated with the community. They do feeding people like every night of the week. It's more of a to-go kind of a thing. They actually prepare all the food. They just need someone to host having it there and help pass the food out. So it would be a different cadence than this 5th Sunday lunch thing, but we're talking with like Pine Street and all that about the possibility of maybe using this space for that. And it would, so we're looking into that. We'll see where that goes. Tuesdays and Wednesdays are apparently looking for a home right now. So that's all I've got for you. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Jim. Yes, you can clap. Clapping aloud.
One more thing.
One more thing.
I almost forgot.
I was going to you had a thing you came up here with.
I did. I came here with a little bag. So one of the other things, to help support the whole 5th Sunday lunch thing, a lot of the times we do to go. So like we'll have, like we serve the people, but if there's leftovers, we like give it to them to take away. And so we would love it. We're going to start having a permanent place for people to bring them. You can bring like food containers that you got from takeout. It can be like that. It can be a little bigger. It can be a lot bigger, right? Things that can seal up, right? It can be like a clamshell, like that. Anything like that that you can wash, clean it up, bring it here. We're going to have a place. It can be a butter tub, right? Anything like that you can bring, put in here, because like we're serving the folks over at Trinity Lutheran's like community center, but we need to have like these sorts of things because they have a supply that they're doing the same sort of thing with their congregation. People bring them in, but like December 29th, we used up every single one of their to-go containers. We emptied them out. So it would be great if we could be part of the supply for that on an ongoing basis. So we're going to be setting that up. That should be showing up in the back area probably within the next couple of weeks. Thanks.
Also, I want to say in the beginning, in your worship guide, as you hear about things, there is different QR codes that if you are interested in anything, it does not mean you're signing up for it forever. If you're interested in knowing more, just click that and sign your name up. So thank you, Jim, and his great bag of tricks. As we continue in this idea, I'm going to stand because we need to stand, I feel it. This idea of moving outward into our world, this outer journey we take together, one of the things at All Souls that we had was a vision of what we want to do outward in our world. And as staff, we were thinking of one of the problems often with churches is they often only think about themselves and each other. The holy huddle sometimes is called. What could we do as a community that begins to think outwardly? The second problem that we often hear a lot from people who don't go to churches is there's these huge buildings that are not being used as resources to the city and community. What could we do to change that? So we had an idea when we were looking at our vision strategic plan about a couple years ago was the idea of just a seed of something called a Center for Healing and Wholeness. And we didn't know what it is or what it meant. But we thought there was a way in which we could use part of Pine Street building, not ours, but someone else's, a church's, use part of their building to offer healing and wholeness to the city and to people around us. We began talking about this idea, trying to imagine what it would be, not sure where it was going to go, until one day ran into and had many conversations with my good friend Eric, and it turned into something. So as a small seed that was an idea has bloomed into something beautiful, and we want to give you an update about it tonight.
Awesome. Thanks, Will. Yeah, so like Will said, my name's Eric. So this Center for Healing and Wholeness that Will so beautifully introduced, we are also going to be calling the Grove. So next slide, please. I'll give a little bit of a vision statement. I'm just going to read it, but then talk a little bit more about why. So the vision of the Grove is to build a community that reimagines the journey towards healing and wholeness with an expansive, creative, and empowering mindset. We are all in need of healing, and all are healers with our unique medicine to offer the world. The Grove, a center for healing and wholeness, will provide a physical and virtual space to foster healing in our local community. So a little bit about my story is in 2021, my dad suddenly passed away. And when I was going through this journey of grief, about 6 months into that journey, my partner, Mary, who's not able to be here today, who's done a lot of amazing work on this as well, we'll touch on that more later, developed a chronic autoimmune disease. So we've been going through this crazy healing journey. And so when this idea was first pitched, we reached out to Will and said, hey, we want to be involved with this. So, you know, when we talk about this vision statement, I think what we really want the Grove to embody is mystery and expansiveness. So imagination as healing, art as healing, music as healing. So we want there to be an expansive view.
The name Center for Healing and Wholeness wasn't rolling off the tongue that well, and also didn't have a vision behind it. And this is why seeing two people who bring their own real life story to an idea really transforms it. They came back and they said, I know, hey, don't want to step on your name, but what if we called it the Grove? Meaning this idea of connection, the roots of an aspen being one of the largest living organisms in our entire world. And how can this not just be renting out space for healing, but can be a true community? And so this idea, taken by this story and by Eric and Mary themselves, really turned into something more than just a center for healing and wholeness and trying to figure out which word to say first, but moving into this idea of a beautiful grove. I know.
Carol's an aspen tree lover. So yeah, so I'll read the mission statement as well and then talk a little more. So the mission, space plus community to provide flexible and affordable physical space rentals to practitioners, bringing healing and wholeness to our community, and also act as a hub to connect community members to each other's offerings, to provide both physical and virtual space to creatively pursue one's own calling as healer with support and resources from the Grove. So the mission statement, how is it different than the vision statement? You could get into that. But I think at a very high level, space is a very loaded word nowadays. So we want to offer that physical space at Pine Street, but other space as well, virtual spaces. We envision there being a common space. And the space of resources to support not only practitioners, but clients. If a practitioner needs help with accounting or marketing, how can we help them get their business off the ground? So offering lots of space and affordability at that time as well. So.
A big problem with clients and practitioners is two things: loneliness for those who are offering healing and those who are receiving it, and it's expensive. And so the idea of a grove is trying to address these two things, loneliness and expense. There's lots of other ways in which they're trying and moving towards solving problems, from whether it's there's just kind of a narrow way of healing, or it being not for everyone, but just for those who can afford it. And so as this dream comes together more and more, we're excited for how this community participates in it as well.
Next slide, please. Yeah, so really, we want to hear from the community as part of that value of mystery, that expansive view of healing and wholeness. We want to hear from you all about what healing and wholeness means to you. Also, if you believe you have something to offer, please do fill out this survey. If you're like me, you probably have like 400 tabs open on your phone right now. So pull out your phone right now, scan the QR code in your program, and please do fill out the survey. Also wanted to say Mary, my partner, couldn't be here today. Her dad just suffered a serious heart condition and had to be rushed into emergency heart surgery. So she couldn't be here today. But if you all could just be keeping them all in your prayers, that would be wonderful. So thank you.
We're going to take a moment and just pray for Mary, who's with Steve, and for Eric. God, as we hear words like healing, as we hear words like wholeness, loneliness, we hold as a community this family that is walking through some of the hardest days. And we know that the work that we long to do, to provide space, to provide community, to provide support for some people who are going through some of their darkest and hardest days matter. And so may you be with Mary and with Eric. May you be with Mary's father as he leans into this recovery. And may we all know we are not alone. In your name we pray. Amen. Thank you, Eric. Please put your hands together for him.
I want to invite Kyle and Katie, Deb and Susan. We're going to step into our next cultivate, which is cultivate community commitment. And this cultivation represents the communal journey of our lives. And as we met with leadership a few weeks ago, this word commitment kept coming up again and again. And so that's why we chose cultivate community commitment. And this is not just scary commitment, but it's participation that is linked with belonging. So it feels really important to name that. And we want to highlight some of these ways to participate.
Thank you. Hey, I'm the director of community circles, and this last 18 months or so, we launched 4 new circles, and we're very happy to do that. And I want to thank Chris and Laura, they're here somewhere, for their neighborhood circle. I want to thank Megan and Caroline. They helped with the women's circle. Shannon, are you here? Oh, I don't see Shannon. She is, as you all may know, have you ever been to her Listen and Discuss circle? That's been awesome as well. And then the welcome circle, I want to make sure you all know what that is. We met in the fall for 6 Sunday nights, maybe 7. Every Sunday night, we invited new people to come and hang out with us and have a bite to eat. And we believe it was very meaningful to them and to us. And I want to thank Will and Brian. I helped with that as well, and we hope to do a little bit more of that. And I have a quick question. Can you all, those are our new circles, can you all shout out a circle you might be involved in? Scripture circle? Philosophy circle? Thursday morning men's Bible study. The meditation on Thursdays. We have many, many other circles, and one of the things we are trying to do is be consistent with that. The scripture circle is pretty much right in the middle of every month. These other things that we mentioned are happening very consistently on a particular day of the week. We're trying to do that as well with these new circles. The women's circle might need some volunteers. We were at it for about 5 or 6 months. We're trying to kind of figure out our path, figure out that consistent time. If you are interested in that, please talk to me and let me know if you would help. On the next slide, I'm happy to talk about the next 6 months. The first thing we're going to try and do, which is another new thing, is dinner and dialogue, which we're hoping to make sort of like the living room conversations you may have been a part of. This is a one-time thing. This is not a neighborhood circle that would consistently meet. We're going to try and meet for dinner around maybe your dinner table, if you'll volunteer to do that. And we'll see what the topics might be. It's kind of under development right now, but we're hoping to do that. The next thing is Welcome Circle 2.0. We, again, will invite newer people to join us on a Sunday evening and kind of do the same thing every Sunday after church. And the next thing I'm extremely excited to tell you about, some of you may already know, we've did this for a couple of years, and we're trying to announce it as early as we know. We're going to have a camp out up at Turquoise Lake. We are going to start on Sunday. So this is another little tidbit for you. That Sunday, the 13th of July, we will not have a church service here. So we all have permission to go camping, and I hope you'll join us. In the back, on one of our tables, if you want more details about the camp out, I've got a little flyer for you, and we look forward to seeing you all. Thank you.
Thanks, Deb. I, with deep joy and excitement, get to introduce you to Kyle Vandenbroek, who is going to be our new youth director. Kyle comes with years of experience with teenagers, with youth ministry. He's been on an amazing spiritual journey, walking paths of exploration, and is also a therapist. And he it's an awesome story, but so excited to be with Kyle, so excited to have him spend time with our tweens and teens, and I want him to introduce himself.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks for having me. Yeah, so I just graduated from Naropa in May, and degree in somatic psychotherapy. Excited to work with Grove and Eric and all of that stuff. Yeah, this is a symbol, right? We're gathered in a space where there's stories around this space. There's stories in our culture around this space. There's lots of different perspectives of what that symbol means, right? I'm interested in that loving presence that I understood as a young child and was lived in my, and that presence of God that is present within us and surrounding us and expresses as us. And that's what I want to bring to the kids. And I also want to bring your story around this symbol and around why you come to this place and still enjoy church. So if you have any stories that you want to share with the kids, come chat with me. And then, and even if you don't have stories that you want to share with the kids, come chat with me.
Thanks, Kyle. I'm going to quickly highlight some other circles that happen, the kids and youth circles at All Souls. These humans, as you can see right here, are probably the energy and lifeblood of this community, and I get really excited every time I get to talk about them. But what I really just need to tell you is that in order to keep making this happen and to show them love and value them and care, we need to show up, and we need some volunteers. So I know that happens every year. So every year we get to remind ourselves, but to run a youth circle, we need 4 adult volunteers. So stick that away in your mind if you're interested. And then for kids, we need everywhere from 9 to 10 volunteers to make a Sunday afternoon kids circles happen. So again, there's a QR code. Feel free to scan that or just give me a call.
Hi everyone, Susan again for the music team. I just want to share that it has really come home to me in the last year how much music is really a communal experience. Not just individual, but a communal experience of healing and connection. And it actually heals us when we experience music together. And I want to share one really beautiful experience that came just after election night in November when a few of us got together to learn a new song. Some hadn't met before. We weren't sure exactly how this song would go together. And there was just a general heaviness and maybe lack of hope that evening. And then we sang in harmony, "Oh, I wonder what's to come out of this darkness." And we were lifted. It was magic. There were new connections between us and within us, and I think new hope, at least for me. And we shared that song in the service here. We sang it at Women's Circle, and it is still vibrating in my life. It's magic. And that's the kind of spark and healing I've witnessed over the last year as we gathered youth for a youth band on Youth Sunday. What else? The band rehearsals we're now having twice a month. The a cappella singing that we do, whether it's in someone's kitchen or at the lantern walk service outside. And just the sharing of a new song. When someone suggests a new song to me, it's magic. And I want to thank all the folks that have been involved in facilitating music, the band that gets up here, the sound team, the folks that come and sing a song here and there together, the folks that run the PowerPoint, all of that makes our music possible. So thank you so much. And we want to cultivate more of those healing connections through music. So if there is a way that you want to be involved, If you have a suggestion for a song, please connect with me. And let's see what happens. One of the things we want to cultivate, Aaron, are you close by? Okay. One of the things we want to cultivate is a new circle within the music circle, and that is a handbell group. I've been threatening this for a while, and so happy Aaron is helping take the lead with this.
So we're going to try a thing. We would like to do a handbell piece together for Easter. And so we've selected a piece, potentially two, that for Easter. They're, I don't know if we want to say entry level, but they're not difficult. And so if you've done handbells before, if you want to try handbells, use the QR code and we'll come up with what could work for rehearsals. It would probably be maybe 8 rehearsals between now and Easter. And yeah, I think that's kind of anything else I should add? That's it. I think that, let's talk about it. I think we're open to like middle school and up. So, yeah.
Thank you. We are all part of the music circle when we are experiencing music together here. So if you want to talk more about it, please, open to that.
Thanks, Susan. Okay, so I'm Katie. Again, I'm one of the hospitality deacons along with Tori, who has their little baby who's around, but they're visiting family this weekend. So yeah, I wanted to talk about hospitality. And hospitality is, I don't know, I guess we're kind of the like formalism of what we want to be living every day that we are part of this church. So the things that we've done pretty consistently through 2024 with the welcome table that is set up in the back, and thank you so much to everybody who has showed up to volunteer and stand by that table and be a face that a new person can go see. That's really, really important when somebody comes into this church for the first time, that they know they can, there's information and there's a person behind it. So thank you for that. And we had a lot of fun at the spring and fall social events. I think our pie night, our little pie competition in the fall might need to happen every year because it's been really, really fun. And if you didn't make it, if you are new and didn't make it to it in November, stick around for next November because we're going to have to do it again. And so we've also had some dreams about a monthly post-church dinner. It's been talked about. It's been lots of people say like, hey, we have church on Sunday evenings. Why don't we go out to dinner together afterwards? So you'll see that coming around the first Sunday of the month. Maybe it'll be a potluck here at church. Maybe it'll be somebody saying, hey, let's go to Avanti or something. But keep an eye out. Also, if you would like to volunteer to host, and hosting means say I will be at a place and go to a place and people will come with you. Very easy. So yeah, those are some things that we have in mind. But our call to commitment here, yes, we can do the formal, we do have a need for help in setting up or organizing events. And if you want to do that, QR code for joining the hospitality team, we'd be very grateful to have you. Saying yes to the planning center roles that might show up in your email every week. Not every week, sorry. Not every week. We do not ask you every week to do anything. But occasionally, say yes to being a greeter, to stand at the welcome table, to be a face here at church. And then really it's the simple things that everybody is called to do, to just say hi to somebody new. Maybe if you always sit in the same place at church, maybe sit someplace else, and maybe you'll get to meet some new people. I know it's crazy. Yeah, and there are name tags in the back. Having a name tag, it means that this person that you've met a couple times, you can't remember their name, it just breaks down that little barrier, makes it easier to make a connection with somebody. So these are really simple things that everybody gets to do to make this really, truly a place of belonging. And that's, what we're cultivating here. So that's the hospitality side of things. I'm also going to share what the care team has been doing. And the care team is not just the deacons, but it is many, many volunteers. There are numbers up here of what we did in 2024. We want to continue this in 2025. And I have to say, I actually looked this up 1 year ago, February 2nd, 2024. I had a baby who was 2 weeks old, and my meal train was filled out by somebody from All Souls. It was a meal train that went around the church, and we had meals for the first 2 months of our baby's life, and it was incredible. There was a family from All Souls who brought us a meal in the hospital when we couldn't go home yet. I'm crying because it was so, so meaningful to us. And thank you to everybody who helped us, and to, there were several different meal trains that happened this year. And if you are going through something, ask us. We would love to help you. We really, really would. So there's a QR code for asking for help. There's also a QR code if you have the availability to make a meal, or to give somebody a ride, or to help somebody move. There are tons of different needs that we have, and we would love to make those connections. So that's what the Deacon Care team is here for, and I hope we can build those connections, that community, in those ways. Okay, that's all.
Okay, speaking of community and sitting somewhere else and knowing somebody's names, my name is Brian. I'll be leading us in the passing of the peace. It's been fantastic stuff. There's still a little bit more, so you're going to get a chance to stand up, walk around as we pass the peace. The thing that I find about peace is that there are few things as fleeting as peace. Intercommunal and external. Paradoxically, there are few things as available and as abundant as God's offer of peace. And so I find that it is ephemeral and it is kind of fragile, but it is also, in a way, permanent. It just requires a community to make it so. And so, my friends, let us pass the peace of God with one another. God makes peace within us. God makes peace between us. The peace of God is here to stay. The peace of the Lord be with you always.
stand and grab it. Peace to you all. That's just a taste. There is some food and stuff after, and so if you started a conversation, you're going to get to continue it. Well, we talked about things that we're trying to cultivate as a community together in this movement outward, that we would cultivate generous partnerships, communally, that we would cultivate community commitment to each other. And we want to end by talking about this internal journey. To the inner palace of our being. And what does it look like to cultivate spiritual practices? A friend suggested this book at the beginning of the year. I'm only halfway through, so will to be announced, called Fully Alive. Long story short, love to talk about it, but I came across the beginning of it of someone who grew up in the church, left it, deconstructed everything, and is kind of wondering, like, how can I build again? And finding words like ancient words and symbols, as Kyle was talking about, finding the deep meaning in these things again. And I want to read a short section. It starts with a quote from Thomas Merton. She writes, Merton writes, "I'm not only physically tired, just filled with a deep, vague, undefined sense of spiritual distress." The author, from Fully Alive, Tending to the Soul in Turbulent Times, Elizabeth Olden says, "As I head into my 40s, I wonder where all the grown-ups have gone. They don't seem to be leading us. And I'm longing for there to be more people I can trust, who reliably act with integrity. I want to be a trustworthy person myself. I crave morally serious people, which is not just the same as not being fun or being good at pointing fingers at others. My instinct is that morally serious people don't have to perform their virtue. They've learned and suffered and let stuff go. They are resilient, kind, and open. They know how to laugh, even in dark days. I want to be like them. I want to be fully alive," she writes. "To know how to steady myself has made one thing clear. My aim is not now a big, glitzy, hedonistic life, nor staying within the tracks of a tiny, conformist life. I want depth. I feel the need for roots, for a spiritual core strength. As I look at the future, I want whatever the equivalent is of Pilates for my soul." Yes. Pilates for the soul, a core, a strength. What does it look like to cultivate spiritual practices? Not using the heavy-handed ways of you should do this, but we long for a core and to be a core of people who have taken internal journeys of knowing ourselves and knowing God so that we can move into this world and be fully alive and inviting other people to be fully alive. Well, there are no better people that I know than some of these three who talk and have walked through some of this journey. And so we're going to hear about some of the ways in which we're taking this inner journey and invites to all of us as part of it. So we'll begin with Laura.
Better introduction to what I'm going to be talking about, which is the inner life that we've been cultivating in our leadership cohort. So this includes the staff of the church as well as the deacons and the elders. As a part of the strategic plan that the leadership had been putting together over the last couple of years, one of the things that they recognized was how vital it is that leaders have a place to cultivate and grow their own inner journeys. And so I, as well as many of the others in the leadership group, have been privileged to be a part of this, I guess you'd call it guinea pig group of this leadership cohort. So as well as the work that we do on a monthly basis in our sort of more serious meetings, We also get together about once a month and focus on this inner journey, both within ourselves and as a leadership group. So we have done so many beautiful practices. We've done meditation, we've done a labyrinth, as well as really practical leadership skills, like learning how to actively listen, learning how to deal with conflict in healthy, meaningful ways. And I can tell you it has been a wonderful journey for me personally. It's also been really humbling to be faced with some of the limitations that I have, but given the opportunity and the space and the support to work on those limitations that I have. So not only have I personally been benefited, but I think I can speak for many of the other leaders that it has cultivated a trust in each other, which I think really builds us all as leaders, gives us the support and the sense of responsibility to continue working in these really important roles. So we are going to continue to do these monthly meetings, and they will change as the groups grow and change and alternate. But I think what I would really love, and I think most of the leadership would love, is your support through prayer. I think it's been so vital to have the care of this community for us leaders, and I just want to thank you for all the support that we get from all of you.
Hi everyone, my name is Adam Bailon. If we haven't met, I work with the Enneagram with individuals and groups, and I work with people with it. We actually use it in our lives, and then I teach it as well. And I want to invite you to two things to know about that are available for the All Souls community. One is a panel coming up this Thursday. So the way that I have been trained to teach the Enneagram is through interviewing groups of people. It would kind of be like this. And I just get to ask questions, and the people on the panel get to tell us what it's like from their perspective. And so we get to hear firsthand how people experience the world, and you both get to hear how amazingly similar we are and how strikingly different we all are, and in very particular ways. And if you don't know about the Enneagram, that's fine. It's a tool of self-discovery and development, and it has 9 different types. We can talk more about it later. But this Thursday, we're going to have a panel exploring some of the spiritual components of the Enneagram. The tool itself is not a Christian tool, but it is a very spiritual tool. And so there are real beautiful ways that Christian communities can use the Enneagram and work with it for our own development. So we're going to be looking at some of the pieces that really are like, who am I and my most grounded self beneath my personality, the wholeness that is me. Like what truths do I cling to that help me know how to make it through the world? What is it like internally when I am the most centered and grounded? And how are those things a little bit of a balm for the wounds that I carry that are expressed in my personality? So I want to invite you to that. We're going to hear from 3 different panelists, and we'll get a little bit of kind of a touch on each type. And then I also want to invite you to what we've done. This is like the 6th or 7th one at All Souls, called the Enneagram Circles. So this is a 6-week working group using the Enneagram. If you are an expert in the Enneagram and you've been working with it forever and ever, this is great for you because it's a time to come and practice and work with other people kind of in community, which is an essential part of our development, to kind of work out what's going on inside of me, how do I work with it, how do I grow some greater resilience, some more capacity, and some more space in myself as I move through the world. If you're brand new to the Enneagram, there's lots of resources to help you as well. Get up to speed in terms of just information, but the work is the same. What's going on in me? How do I find a little bit of freedom from the ways that I feel really constricted in my habits and patterns so that I can be in the world with the quality of presence that I really hope for? It's 6 weeks long. There is a little bit of a cost to that one, so check it out on the QR codes. There's both an RSVP for the panel just to help us know how many people to expect. You don't have to RSVP, but it would be helpful. And then for the Enneagram Circle, it is like a sign-up form that you at least want to talk more, and I'm happy to be in touch if you have any questions. Thanks.
Thanks, Adam.
I need to stretch my legs. I'm just going to invite you to take this word that you've heard over and over again tonight, healing, and invite you to start thinking about a healing story. Throughout my time at All Souls, for myself, this has been a wild ride of healing, and I've been able to listen to many, many stories in the last 10 years to know that I'm not alone with healing stories. And so going into this Lenten season, which is coming, we are inviting you to think about your story, to think about a part of your story, something that has changed for you, or why you're sitting here, or what made you plug into this community. So I know that stories don't just come in word form, but we're going to start with word form. So I know lots of QR codes are getting flown your way, so sorry and thank you. But I would love for you to take a look at the form that is listed in the worship guide. It has prompts for different ways to be thinking about your story. You may think of poetry, you may have a narrative, you may write a song, you may make a piece of art. Please come to staff and tell us what you're up to. Submit a story. I'd love to have a conversation. So if you'd rather meet for coffee and just talk, that would be great too. So just trying to get this started. We'd love to be able to share stories moving into this next season of All Souls. Oh, I have one more thing. So we all get to get up and walk around for a little while. In just a moment, you're going to take your Cultivate card, and you're going to come up here, and you can enjoy this amazing music that Susan has put together for us, and you're going to hang up your Cultivate card. Take a minute, look at some other cards. This is a communal cultivation, so as we work on our inner cultivation, we do this communally too. So if you didn't write out your card, go for it.
I hear you. I see you. I feel you.
I feel what you feel.
I believe you.
I know this is real. I'm right here.
I'm right here. I know you. You know me.
You'll show me.
I hold you. You hold me.
I free you. You free me.
Let's sing one more song together. We shall be known by the company we keep, by the ones who circle round to tend these fires. We shall be known by the ones who sow and reap the seeds of change alive from deep within the earth.